I get three things to understand. One is Dharma, the other is action, and the third is advocacy. Now, you also said that ESG will now be compliant for 1,000 companies, right? So it will be mentioned in the annual report, and SEBI will look at it, consultants will help it, etc., which I think is a very good development. But it is not sufficient for two reasons. If we are talking of those who are consuming too much of water, or where a lot can be done, if that is not targeted, then on the waterfront, we would not be so sort of successful, right? Because it envelops so many things, right? The second part to that is, I think organizations like WOW and dynamic people like Hariharan should think that rather than just entrusting this job to SEBI, right, that actually civil society organizations should become vigilance bodies and say, look, this is our counterfactual. If we don't do that, we are just going with business as usual.
Right.
Maybe some, etc. The fear of window dressing. Not that corporates are bad. That's not my intentions, right? So I think we need to have a counterfactual in this whole process. It's something which I would strongly recommend. I think groups like WOW should do it. If we don't do that, we are just sort of, anyway, we live. I have another problem which I like to understand, and I want other people to tell. Look, the severest problem of water, whether it be for human beings or plants or for soils, is summer. But there is no data that tells us what should be the quantum of water made available in tropical countries in summer, because that's really, I mean, Hyderabad, it's pouring, right? Plants don't need water now, right? So I think and there's no statistics like that. We must know from February to July or June, what is the quantum of allocation of water that we're going to ensure. I know how many trucks are going into the villages to provide drinking water, right? So I think if we want people to move, we must be able to address the water in summer at multiple levels, at the level of data, at the level of action. So therefore, sir, Athreya, my question is this. What would you think if summer is the crucial period for all that, what could be the attendant measures? What could be the incentives, including to industry, that we must push for? Thank you.
Okay. Now, I think I must compliment you. You have captured three key values or points there: Dharma, action, and advocacy. Very important. I think these are mantras in our tradition. The second is that I agree with you. You emphasize that Sarkar and corporates alone will not do it. CSOs, civil society organizations, have to do it. We have to have more such. And the CSE, Center for Science and Environment, has been struggling for a long time, and they will not stop. They will. I think we should be like them. There are issues that they talked about in 1995, which are partly solved. So what is the solution? Now, let us take one example. Infrastructure in India was neglected for a long time. In the last 10 years, some key ministers and the Prime Minister have taken interest and involvement, and we have had a huge development of highways in the country. Nitin Gadkari and his approach to it and his management perspective, working with industry without prejudice, without ideology. Renewable energy, both the windmill as well as the solar, we have made a remarkable progress compared to the global context. So I think these have to be systems which capture political attention and get votes, because the highways have led to development, industry, jobs, people can see it. So we need a champion set of ministers at center and states. Gradually, they will not come all together on water management. Some of the water experts would have done studies that the annual rainfall precipitation on India, combining the monsoon as well as cyclones, various kinds of tufans that take place, that water is adequate for all our needs perhaps, and we need to capture it. So some minister in some state, even in one district, has to create a laboratory and This can be one of the CSO projects that you identify such a person and get this done. And that model is then talked about, written about, publicized. I think the development will not take place in a planned, systematic, routine fashion. It will be unbalanced development, push and pull. Progressive sectors, progressive areas, and they will pull the others. So we have to create a number of local role models in better water management, and I think they will catch on. One good thing today is that the communication revolution, social media, the various channels, people get to know. And I think compared to 30, 40 years ago, when I returned from the US, 1967, Indian TV carries much more positive news now than it used to do. It was all disaster, all politics, all Bollywood films. And now I think there are more important, significant issues. So let me add a fourth dimension. The reason why I have survived and I'm in good health at 82 is that I'm an optimist. I don't give up. We will solve the problems. In 1967, when I came back, my friends in the US, my relatives in India asked, why have you come back? What is here? Why didn't you stay there? They almost abused me. So they gave me three reasons. In India at that time, the trains don't run on time. There are frequent power cuts. And there is a lot of corruption. So, all right, I agree with you. I don't deny this. If every educated Indian goes abroad, who will take care of this country? And one top management program in Srinagar, I asked them this question: shall we offer the Japanese a 50-year contract? The British have left us as orphans and gone away. Can you please take over for the next 50 years and develop our country and give it back to us? Then I said, this is one contract, even the Japanese will refuse. We have to develop our country and we have to struggle with it. I agree with your frustration. Don't give up. Karma yogi, you are in the position of Arjuna. I understand your Vishada, but we cannot afford Vishada. We must engage in war and overcome.